The dura mater is the toughest outermost membrane enveloping the brain and spinal cord. The falx cerebri is a large crescent-shaped fold of mingle layer of the dura mater. The tetrum cerebri is an extension of the dura mater that separates the cerebrum from the inferior portion of the optical lobes. Archaea mater is a delicate archaeid layer is attached to the inside of the dura and surrounds the brain and spinal cord. The pia mater is to protect the central nervous system by containing the cerebrospinal fluid which cushions the brain and spine. The brainstem controls the flow of messages between the brain and the rest of the body. The cerebrum receives information from the sensory system and the spinal cord. The cerebral hemisphere is one half of the cerebrum, that part of the brain that controls the muscle functions and also controls speech, thought, emotions, reading, writing, and learning. Gyri is bumps that can be seen on the surface of the brain. The sulci is the grooves that fold or ridges make up the folded surface of the cerebral cortex. The longitudinal fissure is a deep groove that separates the two hemispheres of the vertebrate brain. The transverse fissure is a medial longitudinal fissure visible in red running to the top and bottom. Frontal lobes are involved in motor function, problem solving, memory and language, and impulse control. The parental lobes can be divided into two functional regions. One involves sensation and perception, and the other is concerned with integrating sensory input, primarily with the visual system. The occipital lobe is a visual processing center of the mammalian brain. The temporal lobe involved in a primary auditory perception, such as hearing, and holds the primary auditory cortex. The corpus callosum is to integrate motor, sensory, and cognitive performances between the cerebral cortex on one side of the brain to the same region on the other side. The olfactory bulb is a structure located in the forebrain of vertebrates that receives neural input about odors detected by the cells in the nasal cavity. Olfactory tract is a bundle of optic nerve fibers from the olfactory bulb is a structure located in the forebrain of vertebrates that receive neural input about odors detected by the cells in the nasal cavity. Olfactory tract is a bundle of optic nerve fibers from the mitral and tufted cells. Optic nerve is transfer visual information from the retina to the vision center of the brain via electrical impulses. Optic chiasm connects the brain to the eye. The optic tract relays information from the optic chiasm. The mammillary body their projections to the anterior thalamus via the mammalic ophthalmic tract are important for recollective memory. The pituitary gland is a pea-sized structure located at the base of the brain. The midbrain is a motor movement of particular movements of the eye and in the auditory and visual processing. Pons serves as a message station between several areas of the brain. The medulla oblongata helps regulate breathing, heart, and blood vessels. The tegmental nerves is a motor function that activates the muscles. The optic nerve controls the movement of the lateral rectus muscle in humans, responsible for the outward gaze. The pineal body produces melatonin. The superior collocae integrating center for eye movements. The inferior collocae is an auditory pathway and receives input. The arbor vitae brings sensory and motor information to and from the cerebrum. The cerebral aqueduct connects the third ventricle in the denticcephalum to the fourth ventricle within the region. The fourth ventricle helps form the central canal. The thalamus is as such as a relaying sensory signals, including motor signals, to the cerebral cortex and regulating consciousness. The corpus callosum integrate motor and sensory and cognitive performances between the cerebral cortex on one side of the brain to the same region on the other. The septum pellucidum is a thin triangle vertical double membrane separating the anterior horns of the left and right lateral ventricles. The fornix carries some afferent fibers to the hippocampus from structures in the densencephalon in the basal forebrain. The lateral ventricles structures within the brain that contain cerebrum fluid. The gray matter includes regions of the brain involved in muscle control, sensory perception, such as seeing and hearing, memory, emotion, speech, decision-making, and self-control. The white matter is the brain to each other and carry nerve impulses between neurons. The third ventricle is a narrow cavity that is located between two halves of the brain.